Alright, welcome back to another video. So today we're gonna watch the Bleach Rebirth of Soul gameplay overview trailer. So this game was actually announced at Anime Expo, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. It's pretty interesting to see a new Bleach game, definitely, because Bleach is definitely that one. I feel like Bleach and One Piece are definitely these animes are incredibly popular, but they have basically no game to back them up. And I think it's really silly because there's really no reason for it to be that way, right? I mean, granted, I don't really watch animes that much anymore. I used to be a pretty big fan of Bleach. I remember at the time I also bought a PSP game for Bleach that was called Bleach Heat the Souls, which, by the way, is a 3D fighting game only in Japan. So it was pretty expensive to buy at the time, and I asked my mom to buy it for me. It was like years ago. I was like, oh, can I have this? She was like, sure, okay. And then I accidentally bought 2 copies of that game. So to this day, I got Bleach Heat the Soul 7. I got 2 copies of that, one of them being perfectly sealed from 14 years ago, basically perfectly sealed, not opened. The other one I played quite a bit, actually. It was a pretty cool game that was made by 80, a pretty famous fighting game developers for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I believe. Also DNF Duel now, and currently making the new Hunter x Hunter game, right? So it's pretty cool. So Bleach getting a new fighting game that is an arena fighter is definitely interesting to me as well, because a lot of people really don't like arena fighters. They have like a really strong opinion about arena fighters, and you cannot really blame them for it. However, I do want to talk about arena fighters quite a bit, because to me, the arena fighters genre is not all doom and gloom, and it doesn't have to be the way it is currently. I've already heard a couple things that I don't like, but you know, I kind of keep my opinions tame until I see at least a bit more. Rebirth of Souls.
Do you want to fight? Do you want to win?
No.
Or do you want to live? Which is it?
Fighting for its own sake is meaningless. Survival in itself is meaningless.
I mean, the game looks great, right? I want to win, damn.
Wielding swords that personify their soul, Soul Reapers now jump into battle.
Is it the intro of the fight?
Not to anyone.
They got Guilty Gear style intros?
Fall far short of mine.
Ah, the Akuya.
Utilize each character's unique Zanken Soki action to cut down your opponent's Reishi.
Okay.
Cutting down 1 gauge of Reishi decreases your opponent's Kompaku.
Are you ready?
Now or never.
After damaging your opponent, unleash your Kikamu and destroy several of your opponent's Kompaku. Destroy all 9 of your opponent's Kompaku and win the game.
Too easy.
What?
Did you really think you could defeat me?
It looks interesting, but
Spiritual power accumulated while attacking.
okay.
Unleash a special spiritual pressure move.
Oh my god.
You can also activate reverse action while attacking and defending.
Oh my god. Okay.
Turn the tide of battle with well-timed combos.
So this is all.
Yeah, I actually want to talk about this more. They're not really going to explain much.
Shall I explain
Oh.
to you the full extent of the difference between you and me? Bankai, Senbon Sakura, Kageyoshi.
In the midst of battle, accumulated power brings you to an awakened state. Unleashing your true
I'm looking
power
at the
will
UI a lot.
overwhelm your opponent.
Senken, Senbon Sakura, Kageyoshi. You've reached your limit. Ichigo Kurosaki.
I think the way they talk about breaking the whatever of the enemy, I think it's like rounds basically, right?
My Bankai.
And there's like 9 of them.
Let's just start over.
See, Ichigo has 2. Before it said 2 left on Ichigo. You have to have 6.
And try to channel it into one big strike.
After everything we've been through thus far, neither of us has very much strength left.
Yeah.
Let the next clash decide.
But I think most of this that they're showing right now is more like story stuff, right? Because it's very cinematic for sure.
Bleach Rebirth of Souls.
I think that's it for the trailer.
What?
And then we're gonna have
Who
to
are you?
check out all of this on by ourselves, basically. Yeah, no release date for now. Okay, official announcement of the Twitter account and everything. Alright, it's pretty cool. Alright, let's look back into all of this, see what we're dealing with. First of all, I kind of want to get a feel for, say, just the combos and stuff like that, combat system. Cut down your opponent's reishi.
Utilize each character's unique Sunken Soki action to cut down your opponent's reishi.
Wait a
Cutting
minute.
down one unique Sunken Soki action to cut
Oh,
down
that's
your
funny.
opponent's reishi.
Oh, that's
Cutting
funny.
down one gauge of
That's pretty funny. So the combos that the characters have, because I'm just looking at the animations for now, they are pretty similar to the Hit the Souls combos, right?
Sunken Soki
Like
action
Byakuya
to
here,
cut down
this combo that he's doing,
your opponent's reishi.
that's literally from Hit the Soul. And Ichigo is doing a green guard. I wonder if that's like just the regular guard effect of the game. They have the 30% kind of they have the 30% rule that you can see in a lot of fighting games. Actually, it's kind of interesting. You see the bar being cut specifically at a certain part of it. That's kind of like the 30 or 25% rule for some games. Some games have that. It's like a combat section of your health gauge that has like a combat mechanic, right?
Utilize each character's unique Sunken Soki action to cut down your opponent's reishi. Cutting down one gauge of reishi decreases your opponent's kompaku.
Are you
No,
ready?
neither.
After damaging your opponent, unleash your Kika move and destroy several of your opponent's kompaku.
I mean, this thing looks cool, right? At least the screen where you cut down the ratio looks pretty cool,
Damaging
right?
your opponent, unleash
I
your
like
Kika
this.
move
I like
and
the
destroy
graphic
several-
style of it a lot. It's pretty awesome. Like visually, I think this game is pretty dope. But again, that's the thing that Arena Fighters is the best. Like they get you with the visuals, but then the game is just...
of your opponent's
Alright, let's keep going though. So now we see, right? It's kind of like rounds, like I said. It's like 9 to 6. And you can see how many reishi bars each player will lose if they die, right? I don't know if there's a way to increase that. Like you see how they are highlighted in yellow up there above the health gauges. It's like the amount that they are going to lose whenever they lose a round, basically.
Destroy all 9 of your opponent's kompaku and win the game.
Oh my god. Okay, that's cool. So this okay, that's actually reassuring. So you see Byakuya here,
all
right?
9 of your opponent's
This little string right here is something that you can do in Bleach Hit the Soul. So in Bleach Hit the Soul, you have like, I don't really want to call them fireball attacks, but they're kind of like that, right? So they have I forgot the name of the techniques in Bleach because it's been so that I watched Bleach, but they have these things, right? And Byakuya's is one of them. You can just throw a projectile. So that means the combo system of this game might be very similar to Bleach Hit the Soul. If you haven't seen Bleach Hit the Soul, I really recommend that you watch that. And it's a good sign because it also shows that the game might not have a fully automated combo system. There might be something where you have like auto combos, right? I mean, auto combos in Bleach Hit the Souls were like light, right? It was just 3 hit string and stuff like that. You could go up to, some characters go up to 5 depending on the character that you were playing, but they were not like full on auto combos. You had to link in like things like fireballs, your own specials, like characters had different special moves and stuff like that. So it was pretty interesting. So this game, from what I'm seeing, is a arena fighter 3D version, full-on 3D version of Bleach Hit the Souls. This is so interesting because you can see some defensive mechanics here. Something that worried me a lot about this game is that they mentioned a lot of times that this was a game where you could reverse, you know, the course of the fights and stuff like that, because, you know, combat mechanics. I don't know why they want us to get excited for combat mechanics, but in a way, if you want to make a game based on things like that, on one-hit actions, there are definitely games in fighting games that do the same thing. Something like Samurai Shodown, for example, right? It's an interesting game for that specific reason. It's a pretty high damage game. where characters can just die in a single hit, and they have a specific mechanic for that, and it's pretty cool. So definitely if they do it right, it's good, but if they do it wrong, it's just gonna feel cheesy and stuff like that. But based on this, it doesn't look bad at all. I'm actually pretty surprised when it comes to this.
What? Did you really think you could defeat me?
I've also heard that they have the gauges, right? But they don't mention that you have to charge the gauges ever. But I'm assuming the game will have a charge mechanic, just like Hit the Soul. I'm a little bit bummed out if they have one, because I don't like charge mechanics in my opinion. I think they kind of hurt arena fighters quite a bit, but if they want to have them, in Hit the Soul it was not that bad. It wasn't really hard to get meter in that game. Something that I'm a little bit confused about, however, is all the cutscenes, right? I feel like there's a lot of cutscenes in this showcase, so it's hard to get a good feel of the fight and the flow of the combat in general, because a lot of it is just cut by cutscenes all the time. They don't really let it rock, which is something I hate about these trailers sometimes, man. I hate that shit about some of the trailers they make sometimes for like Bandai Namco games. Every time they always have to show you cinematics. I don't care. I mean, I know the game is pretty and has cutscenes, cool, but I also want to see the the flow of the fight.
Destroy.
So this is an auto combo, basically 5 hits, right?
All 9 of your opponents.
This is not auto combo, so this is a string. This was like in Bleach the Soul, this was like square, triangle, basically. It's little thing.
In the midst of battle.
Whoa. Yep, did you see that? Did you see that? Look at this. Look at this. Oh my god, they have so interesting. So from guard, Ichigo is guarding. It seems like it's a similar mechanic as in Kill la Kill If. From guard, the characters can sidestep. I'm also intrigued. Byakuya has 3 gauges up there. What's going on? So up here, the top one we know is like the soul, right? That's the thing that they have to destroy. And because he's in his Bankai, it seems like he can do way more damage to Ichigo's soul, right? He can do 3 bars at that point. That's kind of insane. What did he lose to be able to activate this state? Is it the reverse state? What did he lose? And then he has his health gauge in the middle, and then the very bottom. What is that? On top of that, I'm also noticing there's a gauge on the P1 and P2 bars, basically. What's going on there? What is that? I wonder if they explain any of that. I don't think I caught that. Oh my god, looking at that sidestep got me super excited. So basically, showing already that the movement of the game is gonna be good, because Hit the Soul had great movement. At least the 3D game was sick. God break. What the? Shunpo. Yeah. And then, oh, the laser. Oh my god. So yeah, this game doesn't have auto combo. Evolution. The bar up there is what makes you go into your Bankai. You don't just get it from random things through the rounds. You get it from this specific gauge, basically, right? Okay. But I wonder if it's a choice to activate it in between rounds or in the middle of, the fight in a round. Damn, down to 2. He went from 6 to 2. He lost 4 on this. Oh my god. So, okay. I was super worried. I think this mechanic is actually kind of exciting because it varies a lot based on how well you survive the different phases of a character. If a character is in Bankai, or if it's just playing Shikai and things like that, they're going to do different levels of damage. So base character does 2 soul destruction damage. Shikai character does 3 level destruction damage. Bankai character does 4 level destruction damage. So that's pretty cool. I like what they're going for, and I like the style of combos because it's basically Hit the Soul, right? That's it. So yeah, you see him here Well, I don't know if it's Shikai, because technically this Ichigo is considered Shikai already, so it should do 3. But I'm assuming maybe they leave him like this because eventually Bankai Ichigo is kind of the default, so maybe they consider this for Ichigo the basic level. Because eventually Ichigo has the holo, and then maybe he has other modes from the other arcs coming later on. I think that's cool. I think that's pretty cool.
Cut down your opponent's.
Oh.
Utilize each character's unique Zankensoki action to cut down your opponent's.
Okay, I understand. So the bar that's below, the third bar, is basically a guard gauge. I don't know what to think, because I've heard this developer is the same developer that made the Captain Tsubasa game, which is not a bad game necessarily. I haven't played it, but I've seen quite a bit of it. It's not necessarily a bad game, it's just really jank because, you know, it's another anime game that Bandai Namco doesn't really take care of, and that's why they mentioned that they wanted to basically axe a lot of the projects just to increase the quality of the products that they're making from now on. And when they presented this game at Anime Expo the first time, and the developers were just talking about how, oh, we have Ichigo in the game, and we have Rukia, and the game looks pretty, I was like, yeah, we know, but who cares, right? And it got me really worried. Plus, the developers also the same that made games like One Shanbara and some of the games for God, what is Senran Kagura, I believe, things like that. And these games are not exactly, I mean, we know why people play those games. We never, you know, but I mean, I don't think it means that they're bad developers, but I feel like they might be a little bit on the cheaper side of the developers, you know. But if they can make a good game out of this, I think we can start to look at a brand new Arena Fighter developer that has a lot of potential. Because the problem with Arena Fighters essentially is that a lot of them are made, first of all, by the same companies. They're made by the same developers, first of all. It's the same 3 devs that have been making all the Arena Fighters that people play. And finally, we have a brand new one that's coming to the scene, and they're trying to make something that's actually pretty nice from what I'm saying. So it's interesting 100%. Seeing the animations from Hit the Souls, and also seeing how some of the combos might not actually be auto combos, because from what we've seen so far in this, it's not big auto combos that we're seeing, but a lot of like strings and also special moves that the characters have. I just hope that they can show a bit more, and a bit more of a, you know, a bit more of a full fight without all these cutscenes and all these edits where you can see like there's a lot of pauses that are not part of the game actually, and you can tell because they talk about rules, right? I just hope that eventually we can get like a demo, so we can, or beta or something, so we can have like our hands on it. And also the netcode, please Bandai, please, just a little bit of an effort, just a little bit of an effort on this, just a little bit. All right, so this is the thing that I just wanted to talk about when it comes to Arena Fighters, right? The problem with Arena Fighters is that, and the reason why a lot of people hate them is because they're just usually very, you know, catering towards like quote unquote casuals, I guess, but man, I don't really like that definition. I just think that they are just games that are pretty, it's like a dormant genre at this point, because for years, I mean decades basically at this point, right, since the Budokai Tenkaichi, these games have not evolved at all. It's been like more than 20 years already, right, that these games have been in the same mix. They've been doing the same thing, and they have not changed whatsoever. When I look at all these games, it's always exciting to see a game coming up with something new. Like I said, One Justice is trying to come up with, they tried to come up with something new, even though the game is not super polished, obviously, and even in terms of some of the mechanics, it could be a bit better because the game feels a bit floaty even when you watch it. So I'm sure it feels better when people play, but it's interesting because a lot of the characters in that game are very unique and they don't do the same things. That's cool. They don't even have a charge mechanic, which is dope, because Arena Fighters, like I said, I don't think they should always have a charge mechanic. Kill la Kill If was the same thing. Watching Kill la Kill If was really, really interesting because the game didn't have charge mechanics, right? The characters were not just sitting there charging. Some of them actually had Oki, right? The only character that had a charge mechanic was Gamagori because that was his gimmick, basically, right? And gimmicks are something that you see a lot in fighting games. Every character has their own little things doing, right? That they're doing, and that's dope. So, yeah, an arena fighter doing its own thing is really exciting. And like I said, it's always been a bummer because a lot of them are always made by the same developers, but also produced by the same company, right? It's always Bandai Namco trying to do something. And every time, the problem with Bandai Namco, like, I think I like the games that the ideas that they come up with, but I hate the way they manage the game all the time. Because every time it's the same story, right? Bandai Namco, they just try to replicate the success of maybe a Naruto Storm or a Budokai Tenkaichi, and they play super safe all the time. Oh my god, look at the sidestep, look at this, did you see that sidestep? Did you see Ichigo dashing and then Bianca just sidestepping like a fucking god? They have iframes on the sidesteps, dude, look at this. That's super exciting. Just seeing this gets me hyped because it's not these are things and interactions that you don't see a lot in arena fighters, right? This is cool. This is already cool just by default. Of course, this is they add an edit there, so we cut the flow of the fight again. Goddamn Bandai Namco, just let us see the fights. But anyways, so that's pretty exciting. Seeing a new dev coming into the scene. That's why Kill la Kill was super exciting too, because it was Artsys making an arena fighters for the first time. And there's always been a lot of mentions of Artsys talking about Trigger in general. And I think the unfortunate part of Kill la Kill is two things. First of all, like I said, I've heard that Kill la Kill actually had issues because of Trigger having too much of a hand into how the game was made. Artsys not being familiar with the genre as well was causing a little bit of trouble. And then as a whole, the game came up, it came out fine. But also the problem with Kill la Kill is that it's a Kill la Kill game. Kill la Kill on its own is not really that strong of an IP. Yes, it has funny memes. I love the show, it's great. I've rewatched it a couple of times. It's pretty fun. But is it something that, you're waiting for the next fighting game of Kill la Kill? Not really. But something that could have been much better than Kill la Kill was probably a Trigger All-Star Brawl type game or something like that, right? Trigger All-Star would have been much better because they can include Gurren Lagann, they can include My Little Witch Academia, they can include Kill la Kill, they can include even other things that they had collabs with, like Cyberpunk, for example. I feel like it would have been also nicer than Kill la Kill, but a game like this Bleach game is super important in my opinion. This game, and oh my god, so it's a reversal strike back. You can literally cut the action of the other player. I don't know how to feel about that one, but we'll see. Anyways, I got distracted by the footage. But yeah, I think it's pretty. I think this game and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero are pretty important games in general. I don't have a lot of faith in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero because they're trying to make it like the Tenkaichi games, and while that game looks cool, I see a lot of hesitation in it as well. For example, they added that little short dash that they added to the game, and it makes the movement look pretty smooth. It's nice, but there's also the problem where that movement seems to take a lot of meter from the player, right? So that sucks because it kind of leads the game to have a lot of downtime because players are just charging their key the whole time, right? There's a lot of charging and not a lot of fighting, and it's sad because the game looks so cool and you just kind of want to see the characters fight each other, regardless of if the characters are unbalanced or no. Just seeing the mechanics being at play at a high level is really interesting. But if I decide to play Goten, for example, am I going to be severely penalized compared to somebody who plays, I don't know, Gogeta Blue or something. I can understand that there's like a huge health difference and even damage difference, but I hope that at least, you know, just the variety of moves that the character has. I wonder if and the mechanics, are the mechanics solid enough for me to express myself as a player, basically is what I'm trying to say. So that's the concern I have for a game like that. And because it's an arena fighter, we know how these games are and they don't really offer a lot of that. So that's what's concerning to me. And this game I think looks cool enough and interesting enough because I'm familiar with Hit the Soul. I'm excited to see where they're trying to go with this, because it's a weird mix of a 3D game becoming an arena fighter game, basically, right? And like I said, we saw the sidestep and the dashes. It looks cool because they actually have invincibility built in them, and you do it by using the guard button as well. It's cool. So I'm pretty excited for this, but I'll keep an eye on this and I'll see how it develops. If it's interesting enough, this might be the first arena fighter I pick up in a very long time, because I want to see arena fighters flourish, because it's a you know, sub-genre of fighting games that is looked down upon a lot and frowned down, but I want it to flourish. I want it to be good, because the more types of fighting games we have, the more people can get their attentions of fighting games. However, whatever type of fighting game it is, platform fighting game, arena fighter, 3D fighter, 2D fighter, classic fighter, whatever it is, I think it's good to have as many types of fighting games as possible. So that's my take on it. It's a bit of a long video because analyzing all of this was pretty long. I'll try to edit as much as I can. So all right, that's it for the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.